This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, welcome to our day 5 training session of Oracle GoldenGate Microservices. So in the previous session, what we did, we configured the extract process under the administrator server on source. So this is our source where our so this is the source service manager where all our administration server, distribution server, performance metric server, and receiver server are running. So receiver server here we have stopped because on source we don't need it. So basically distribution server establishes the connectivity with target receiver server and then send the trail file over TCP/IP network. So service manager is basically a watchdog for all these servers or services. Administration server, what is administration server? So let us see now. So administration server, basically the purpose of administration server is to administer, supervise, manage processes, configure the parameter files and perform process configuration as well. It is central control entity for managing replication components. It create and manage local extract and replicate processes without accessing GoldenGate installation. Provide REST interface for admin client or client using Perl and Python. Then you have service manager, so we know it is watchdog for other services. So manager login is like this. So you have to log into HTTP, then hostname and colon port number which you have to provide. But ensure before you are providing or trying to access the service manager, your service manager should be up and running. Next is receiver server. So receiver server basically is a replacement of collector process in Classic. So in Classic you have collector process. It has been replaced with receiver server in microservices architecture. So what it does, it handles our incoming trail file. So it works with distribution server. The purpose of receiver server is to work with distribution server. So if you see in this uh, diagram, you have distribution server sending data to target. So it is establishing, so it works with your receiver server to send the data. So what happens is, you have seen, right, while we create the distribution server, we have to provide the receiver server port number. So what happens is, as soon as the path is created, so distribution server, when you try to start, it establishes the connectivity with target receiver server. So if you stop the receiver server on target and if you try to start the distribution path created in distribution server, you will see that it won't work, because what will happen, distribution server will try to establish that connectivity with receiver server on the specified port. However, since receiver server is stopped and there is nothing to listen to on that port, as a result distribution server will die. So it provides compatibility with pump process in classic architecture. So it might happen that your source is classic and target is microservices. So in that scenario, it provides compatibility with pump process in classic architecture. So we'll discuss about those scenarios later on, like when your source is classic, target is microservices. That part we'll be covering in next subsequent sessions. So it uses WebSockets as streaming protocol. So these are the protocols which are used. UDT or classic Oracle GG protocol is being used. Distribution server. So distribution server is a replacement of data pump process in Classic. So distribution server in microservices has replaced data pump process in Classic. So the purpose of distribution server, as the name suggests, it distributes the data. So what happens under distribution server, you create the distribution path which distributes the data returned in local trail over TCP/IP network, connects with, establishes connectivity with target receiver server and writes it to remote trail on target server. So it application that acts as data distribution agent that supports conveying and processing data and command. It replaces classical data pump. It supports multiple protocols. Then you have performance metric server. So we'll see this. So it uses metric service to collect and store instance deployment performance results. You can use performance metric server in both classic and microservices architecture. So starting 12.3, microservice this performance matrix server has been introduced. So it is also available in classic. So it's not only part of microservices. So this is common misconception that you can use performance matrix server in classic architecture only. Remember, in microservices architecture only. Remember, this has been introduced in classic architecture as well. So if you are using classic architecture as well, you can use performance matrix server. Then performance matrix server is used to query and receive performance metrics. So you can receive and query performance metric in JSON or XML. You can view active process status. You can view error logs, monitor system resource utilization live, then integrate third-party metrics tools. So this is the service manager. So let us see what we did, what configuration we have. So we'll log into service manager. So to log into service manager, we can click here. So once I click here, so I need to log into administration server, OGG admin, and then here on this page I will get the list of processes being configured in my environment. So administration server holds the extract and replicate processes. Whatever extract and replicate process you configure, they gets created on your administration server. So you can see right now the process name is ext-int10. However, the process is in failed mode. Can you see there are three modes? One is running, another one is failed, third one is other. Now, if we compare it to classic, in classic, what three modes we have? We have running, abandoned, or stopped. Right? Here we have running, failed is equal to abandoned, and other means it is stopped. So right now it is failed. So if we have to see the report file, so how do we proceed with the troubleshooting? So say for example, I have to troubleshoot this. Means I don't know why the process is stopped. I know the reason personally, but say for example in production you are working and you have to see why the process is stopped. How do you proceed? So how do you proceed with troubleshooting? So
You view reports.
exactly. So you have to view the report file. So report file, how do you view? So report file basically reside inside. If I go to action, there is details. So under details, there is a report tab. I again repeat, action, details, go to report. Now go below and you will find the reason. So there is nothing so far. So see, the error was OCI error ORA 1089, immediate shutdown or close in progress. No operations are permitted. So what happened was the database shut down. The database this to which this extract process is connecting to, it was shut down without stopping the process. So what happens? The connectivity was interrupted, and that's why the process got abandoned. So to troubleshoot any issue in GoldenGate, see there are steps how to troubleshoot. So first step is always to view the report file. You have to view the report file. So 60 to 70% of times your report file will say tell you clearly what's the issue, why the process is into abandoned mode or it is not running properly. So what is the solution? We have to get database in running mode. So if I see, I just got the database in running mode. Let us see if it is running. So I'll connect to database. So I'll do show PDBs. So my pluggable database is not running. So I'll do alter pluggable database PDB1 open read write. So my pluggable database will also open now. So as soon as it is open, what I'll do, I'll start the extract process. Okay, so it is running. So what I can do now, I'll go to overview again. Now I'll click on action and then I can click on start. So before I start, there are other options, like I can start with options as well. So like you can start at SCN and after CSN as well. So basically, say for example, you know that particular CSN SCN at database, it has been processed. So you want to start the extract process after a particular CSN number. So you can provide that information as well. It's similar to start extract name after CSN or at CSN. So CSN, just to give you a brief overview, so CSN stands for, anyone can answer this for me? What is CSN?
Commit sequence number.
Exactly. So CSN is commit sequence number. So what is now commit sequence number? So what happens is at database level, each transaction has a SCN associated to it, system change number, right? So at database level, we have SCN. Now GoldenGate captures only committed transactions. GoldenGate captures only committed transactions. So what happens is, at database level, we call it as SCN. The same in GoldenGate referred to as CSN number, commit sequence number. So whatever SCN, say for example, a committed record SCN. So SCN at database level may be there for uncommitted transactions as well. However, GoldenGate only captures committed transactions. So say for example, there are three transactions: 111, 112, 113. Just a hypothetical CSN number I'm taking, okay? It will be definitely more numbers. So this is uncommitted, this is committed. Then 112 transaction. So SCN number 111 started and it got committed. Then this transaction started, but it hasn't been committed. Before that transaction, this 113 started and got committed as well. Now after 113 was committed, then 112 was committed. So the commit flow is 111, then 113, and then 112. So GoldenGate doesn't capture this at this moment. It will capture only when the transaction gets committed. Okay. Now what happens is, how does GoldenGate ensures data integrity is, it outputs or it replicates the data on target database in commit sequence number. So the transaction which has been committed first will be applied first on target database. So in this scenario, what is going to happen is, even though transaction, so first transaction to be applied on target database will be 111. Okay. Now after that, even though transaction 112 started earlier than 113, however, because it has been committed later, so what will happen? Transaction 113 will be returned to target database first, then transaction 112. So GoldenGate, the major advantage with GoldenGate is, how does GoldenGate, we say that GoldenGate ensures data integrity, GoldenGate ensures no transaction log. The reason why it does that is, or GoldenGate does the transaction, ensures transaction interdependability is maintained. How does it ensure all these scenarios? So GoldenGate works on the criteria of CSN. So the transaction which gets committed on source database first will be applied on target database first. Any question on this? So each transaction has its commit sequence number associated to it. So if you want to start, say for example, a process after a particular CSN, so you can provide that. So the major advantage to use it is, say for example, during database instantiation. So during target database setup. So what happens is, you have taken a export until a particular SCN number. So you have taken an export until a particular SCN number, consistent backup you have taken of source database. Now you will apply it on target. Now once the replicate starts, so you can provide, or even the extract process, what you can do, you can start the extract process after that particular SCN. So what happens is, say for example, your source database was committing the data, or it was having the you took the export consistent backup until SCN number 11223344. So what will happen, you can ask the extract process to start after SCN 11223344. So what will happen is, import and export will be consistent, you will not miss single transaction, and as a result your database replication will not miss any transaction. Okay, so you can use this after SCN or at SCN option as well. Then you have other options like alter. So alter, you can alter the process based on your multiple things. What are the options? Like you can start the process, you can alter the process to before time as well. So I want the extract process to read 14th November data once again. So what I can do, I can use the custom time and I can alter this extract process to 14th November. So what will happen, the extract process will start reading the 14th November data again and will write it to local trail. Then data pump will send it to remote trail and replicate will apply. So you can alter the process based on custom time, or also you can alter the process over here based on SCN as well. So you can provide the SCN number and extract process can start from that particular time as well. Any question on this part, CSN or any other?
Yes, Ashi, I have a question.
Yeah, Pigai, tell me.
Yes, this is integrated capture, right?
Yeah.
And let's say the log mining server relate on archive logs. And for an instance, we have a downstream database and we are missing some archive logs. Later on, we provide those archive logs to the downstream database. So do you mean extract? You can alter the extract to capture data from that period that has passed, maybe for a couple of days?
Yeah, you can go back in time. Only thing is you have to ensure the archive logs for that, the log files for that particular time are available.
Oh, okay.
So you can
All right.
always,
Okay.
so you can go back in time 2 years. You can go back in time 6 months. You can go back in time 1 month. I'm just telling you a scenario so that you can understand. But ensure that you have archive or logs available for that particular time.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Ashish,
Okay.
in such scenarios, could you please let us know how to find those CSN numbers?
So you have to just query the database. So you can query $$ database, select current underscore SCN from $$ database. You can get SCN information from database.
And also to add up on your answer, I believe you can run the health check. From the health check, you realize that the log mining server is searching for a particular archive log. So from there now you can go to the wherever, I mean the location wherever you keep your archive logs, and then you can ship it down to the downstream.
Yeah, you can. So when you run the health check, database health check, you will get all that information as well. So in fact, means your extract process will also abend. So it will also tell you what is the status. It will tell you basically everything. Okay. Okay. So now if you have to start it, so before I continue, any other question from anyone? Okay, so let us now proceed. So if you want to delete the process, you have the option of deleting it. You can alter it. Now I have to start it, so I'll start it now. So are you sure you want to start this process? I'll click on OK. So what will happen now? The process will start. This extract process is going to start now. Okay, so this will start the extract process and see where it will write to your local trail. So where does your local trail reside on source? So on source side, we created the new directory. No, we are not using the default one, right? We are using the directory, self-defined directory. What was the directory? Anyone remember before I show it to you?
dir PRM.
dir PRM is for parameter file. We
Yeah,
created dir dat. So dir dat is here. So if I go inside dir dat and I do ls-lart, I will see there are two trail files. One is lt000 and another one is lt0001. So lt0001 has been created just now. You can see today's date and timing. So why there has been new trail file? So trail file rollover happens. So by default, the size of the trail file is 500 MB. So trail file rollover or switchover happens when either the maximum size of a trail file is reached, which is not in this case, it's only 2470 bytes. Another reason is when you start the process who is responsible for writing data to this particular trail file. So who is writing data to this particular trail file? It's extract process. And because we have restarted, it's the extract process ext-int10, and because it's the uh, because we have restarted this process, that is the reason the trail file switchover has happened. Okay, so trail file switchover happens either when the size of the trail file is reached, or the process who is responsible for writing data to these trail files gets restarted. Okay, so your extract process is now running. Next is you have to check the distribution server. So if we check the distribution server now, let us check what is the status of path. So path is also running right now. So if I have to check the action of this, I can check details. So under details, I have this path information. Then you have statistics. So you can check the statistics. So this path was never, no, this path has been restarted. This path is also restarted because the statistics have been refreshed. So these statistics, whatever you see, get refreshed as soon as you start the process. So remember, if you remember in the previous session, we had like 3 statistics: one insert, one update, one delete. Right now we have 000. The statistics data gets refreshed whenever you restart the process. So because this path has been restarted, as soon as the connectivity has been reestablished, it restarted automatically. You can stop it if you want, you can delete it, you can reposition it as well if you want to reposition. So what happens is, say for example, what is the source of this path? Can anyone tell me from where this data pump, or where this, from which location this dp path 1 is reading data from? Is it reading data from source database?
Yes, I believe so.
No, it's running. It's reading from redo logs and archives.
Okay,
It's
anyone
reading
else?
from the
Oh,
trail,
sorry,
from the.
it's it's reading from LT.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
reading from target database.
no, okay, Pega, you were saying something?
Yes, I was saying that it is reading from the trail at the target database.
No,
At the source database, sorry. At the source
exactly.
database, sorry.
Exactly. So this is the source, right? This
Mm.
is the source of this data pump, or data, sorry, this is the source of this distribution path, right? LT000 or LT0001. So remember, let me get this clear to you before I proceed. This is really very important. So I'll go back to architecture once again. Okay. This part is really very important, and once this is clear, you can go with any troubleshooting. Okay. Okay. So remember this architecture. Where even if you are working in classic or microservices, this is the main architecture which you always have to keep in mind. Okay. So you have so in microservices you have servers like extract, data pump, or so you have servers like administration server, distribution server, performance metric server, or receiver server. However, how does replication happens? So you configure GoldenGate capture process, which is also known as extract process. Okay, now extract process reads the data from source database and write it to local trail. Pump process then reads the data from local trail and writes it to remote trail. Then you have replicate process, which reads the data from remote trail and apply it to target database. So remember, each process has a source to read from and a target to write to. And each source is different and a target is different. So what is the capture process source? What is the ultimate source of the capture process? So even though it is receiving data from logminer, integrated capture, still its ultimate source is source database transaction logs, right? And what is the target of the extract process? Local trail. Is that clear? What is the source of pump process or distribution server in microservices? What is the source of distribution server in microservices? It's local trail and target is remote trail. I see someone replied with administration server. Remember, administration server is just a platform who is allowing you to create the capture and delivery process or extract and replicate process, but they are just the platform. However, internal work is done by your extract process, distribution path, and receiver server. So each process has a source to read from and a target to write to. Similarly, replicate process source is remote trail RT and target is target database. So each process has a source to read from and a target to write to. Capture process source is source database, logs, target is local trail. Path, distribution path source is local trail and target is remote trail. Replicate process source is remote trail and target is target database. So remember, whenever you are doing any troubleshooting, you have to ensure first of all, so first and foremost questions which I receive is your data is not getting replicated properly. So first of all, you have to see whether the source and targets which are defined are proper or not, like whether the capture process is reading data from source database or not properly, or if pump process is reading from the same location which from where it is intended to read to. So sometimes what happens, due to some typo, those error comes. So you have to ensure that distribution path is receiving data or reading data from correct location. Same with replicate process, so its source must be defined correctly. Okay, so each process has a source to read from and a target to write to. Now another thing which you have to keep in mind while troubleshooting is, these are the small troubleshooting things, tips which you have to keep in mind while you are troubleshooting, and these tips will always make your life easy whenever you are working in any environment. So first thing you have to keep in mind is each process has a source to read from and a target to write to. So while troubleshooting, if the data is not getting replicated and even though the process are showing as running, you have to ensure that the source from where they are reading the data is correct and the target is also correct. How can you ensure? Now the question comes, how can you check whether the source is correct or not? Okay, so I'll tell you how to check whether the source is correct or not. What you can do is you go to overview. Now I'll go to start with extract or this admin server. So what you can do, you need to check the details and you have to check the process information. So here you can see the target is LT U01 dir. You can also check the report file. So you can so the thing here is when you check this extract, it doesn't show you like what's the sources. You can check here that in this report file that it is getting connected to this database, and you can also check the parameters. You can check this information will be given to you, which database is it is connecting to, by connecting to this, by looking at this user ID information. So user ID alias is /ggadmin1_cdb. So to verify whether it is connecting to correct container database, go to configuration and check the user ID to which database it is connecting to. So it is connecting to container database OGG DB1. So it is fine. Our intention is it should be connecting to OGG DB1. Next is you have to ensure its target, whether the target where it is writing data to is correct or not. Go to parameter files, or in fact the process information, if you see, it will show you where it is writing data to. So it is writing data to this particular location. Okay, so it is writing to U01 app Oracle OGG123_deploy dir.lt. So you have to ensure that the location which is provided here should be same for distribution path as well. Okay, so next is we'll go to distribution path, distribution server, then distribution server action we'll check details. So under details, you can check whether the location which was provided, which you saw in extract details, does both matches or not? Yes, it matches. If it doesn't matches, that means that you have to change it. So see, it should match. So you might face the issue that even if it is a typo, right? If it's a typo, if it's, say for example, if you miss dir dat over here, so what will happen? It is going to read data from this particular location if you miss this. So from different location it will read. So what will happen? Your extract is writing data to some other location, but data pump is trying to read from some other location. Will it work? No. Okay. Next, your source of data pump is defined correctly. Now you have to check whether it is writing data to correct location or not. So what you can do, you need to check the target trail. So here, let me see how you can check. So if I go to action and details, so it is writing data to, okay, so distribution path doesn't show that, it is not showing. It is not showing, distribution path is not showing the target. Okay, no. So target location is this one, if you see. So target location which it is connecting to is GGate 2, and it is connecting on port 7843. Receiver server is running on port, target receiver server is running on port 7843, and it is writing data to default location and trail file is RT. So if you want to see, go to target side whether it is writing to default location. So what is the default location in microservices? So default location is OGG123_deploy var lib data. So on source side we created dir dat. However, on target the trail files reside inside deployment home /var lib data. This is the default location. Now if I do ls-lart over here, you see that it is writing data to this particular location. Okay, so now this is also fine. So far what we have done as per our troubleshooting, we have checked source of capture. You have to check the parameter file and database report file, and you have to check the info details of the extract process to check the target. Similarly, once you have checked the target, you have to ensure wherever capture process is writing data to, pump process should be reading from there. So to check the details of pump process, and then check the target remote trail details of pump process where it is writing data to. So you can always check the location in your target by logging onto target server as well. Next is you have to check whether replicate is reading data from correct location or not. So your replicate process which we have, it should be reading data from this location where your data pump is writing data to. So how can you check? Go to target. We need to log into target now, or this is the target. Yeah, 192.106. So I'll log into target OGG admin, OGG admin. So always remember your source trail and remote trail are different. Your sizes doesn't matter. So you might be thinking that the size of the trail files between source and target will be same, but no, it will not be same. Both your source and target are different trail files, and your sizes can differ. Remember, your source local trail contains much more information than target remote trail. So your source and target trail file sizes can differ. So never think that they both will be same size. Okay, so now we are logging on to target. We are logging on to administration server of target. We will log in where our replicate process is configured, OGG admin, OGG admin. Now our replicate process, we need to see what is the status of our replicate process. So again, it is failed here. Now, how can I ensure what is the reason behind it? Why the process is in failed mode? How can I check that? What is the process to start?
Report.
Exactly. So view the report file. So go to details, go to report tab, and then go down. Oh, it doesn't say anything, in fact. So last time it was updated was on this date around 6 days ago when we conducted our last session. So again, the issue related to it, it doesn't say anything to be, means it is not saying anything. If I try to refresh this report file, it is not saying anything. So it must be some database issue or something, because of that it stopped. So I don't see any major reason for it. So in this scenario, when I don't see anything in report file, what I just have to do is I'll go to action and I'll click on start. So I'll just start this process. So sometimes what happens is there are some minor issues due to which the process may have got abandoned, and it's sometimes like in this case it wasn't reported to our report file. So in these scenarios I won't go into troubleshooting much. I'll just go ahead and start the process. Okay, so now my process will start. So I have to ensure that this replicate process is reading data from correct location. So how can I check whether it is reading from correct location or not? So you can check the trail subdirectory. It is U01 app Oracle OGG 123 deploy where lib data, and trail name it is reading is RT. So yeah, it is correct. It is reading from perfectly correct location. So I need not to worry about. So as per troubleshooting, first aspect is the source and target are defined properly. So now you have to check whether replicate is writing data to correct database or not. That you can see from parameter. So you can check the user ID alias, check to which database and username it resolves to, and then you can check this map and target statement. Okay, so this is how your troubleshooting should unfold. So you have to ensure, first of all, your source and target are correct, defined properly. So this is the one of the major question which I face, wherein people come up and say that they are not able to replicate the data even though the process are reading the data, even though processes are running, not reading the data, even though processes are running. So first and foremost thing to start with your troubleshooting is whether your source and target are proper or not. Is there any typo? You have to ensure there is no typo. Okay, any question on this?
Yes, I do have a question, Ashish.
Yeah, tell me.
Yes, let's take, for example, a lab scenario, right? So where we have all the parameters, let's say in extract process, and we know that in a GoldenGate, in the classic GoldenGate, let's say GoldenGate Classic, we do have what they call a check parameter script. So whenever you run that, you are sure that, okay, all your a parameter has been well set, no comma has been missing or no dot has been missing. So in this microservice configuration, how do you check that?
So here as well, you have same parameters. So parameter wise, whatever are there in classic. So remember, microservices is a different way of configuration. However, whatever is there in classic, you can always use it in microservices. So same check param also exists in microservices as well. You can try to use the same parameter over here as well.
So you mean you can run in at the GUI interface?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you.
So, okay, so you can run it at, you have command base as well in microservices, which is known as admin client. We'll discuss about admin client later on. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Hey, Ashish.
yeah, right.
Yeah, okay. So in a scenario like that, I posted in the chat where you just have that one extract and then you have the replicate process capturing it from the local trail. Now, does that apply to just with an integrated extract and an integrated replicate?
Uh, so you have classic extract and non-integrated replicate available as well. So in our scenario, what we have done on source side, we have created integrated extract, and on target we have parallel non-integrated replicate.
Okay.
So your scenario always remains same even if you are having source and target anything, your scenario will remain same. So your source can have classic, your target can have integrated, or your source can have classic, target can have classic, or source can have integrated, target can have integrated replicate.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Okay, so this replicate process is still not running. Let us try to view the report file. Let us see if any status change is there. So yeah, this replicate process is not currently running. Let me try to start it again. Okay, So before, means in the meanwhile this is happening, so let us go to other troubleshooting techniques. Okay, so first is this part. You have to ensure that your source and target is fine. Another thing which you have to ensure here is process dependability. Okay, so when we talk about microservices right now, so what is the source of distribution path? It's local trail. Now, who is writing data to local trail? Which process is responsible for writing data to local trail?
Extract.
Extract process, absolutely. So, if, say for example, your extract process has not written the data of department table in local trail, can pump process read it? So say for example, there had been 10 inserts on pump. However, due to some reason your capture process didn't capture or it was down, and as a result it wasn't returned to local trail. So can pump process read it? Can pump process write the data of 10 insert to remote trail? Is it possible?
No,
No.
it wouldn't
Absolutely
be any
not.
records.
Right, absolutely correct. So remember, each process in GoldenGate is independent of each other. First thing you have to keep in mind, each process in GoldenGate is independent to each other. Now here, by independency, we mean that their process information or process status is independent. Like your pump process can run even though your distribution path. So in microservices, if I'm referring to this pump, so always take it as distribution path. Okay, so distribution path is in for running wise, it is independent of capture and replicate. So even though your extract is down, your replicate is down, your pump process can run. Similarly, your extract can run even though your distribution path is down or replicate is down, and replicate can run even though your capture or path is down. However, for data, pump process is dependent on your extract process. Replicate process is dependent on your distribution path. So by that, I mean that, say for example, so what happens many a times, you if you are working in GoldenGate, you might have seen this question as well, that your replicate is not able to replicate the data. So application team comes and issues a notice that your GoldenGate replicate is not replicating the data. You must have listened to this question n number of times. Now the thing is, as a GoldenGate admin, the first mistake what we do is we start our troubleshooting at replicate side. However, we have to understand that replicate is reading data from remote trail, and who is writing data to remote trail? It's the distribution path. So if distribution path hasn't written the data to remote trail, can replicate process write the data to target database? No. So you have to ensure that your pump process is reading and writing data to remote trail. So for this to ensure, for pump process, data should have been returned into local trail by extract process. For this to happen, your capture process should be running fine. So your troubleshooting should always start from your extract process. The troubleshooting in this scenario will always start from the extract process.
Actually, I have a
You have to ensure that your extract process is capturing the data from source database and writing data to local trail. However, one thing you have to ensure for capture process to capture the data is your table names or object names, whatever you have mentioned in extract parameter file, they should be correct. So here, like say for example, if I have to give you an example, if I go to extract parameter file, so extract parameter file, where I give the table name. So this is the REST API GUI. So it might take, so don't worry, it is not showing right now. So this is the REST API based tool, microservices. So we have to be a bit patient, okay? So your extract process will show in some time. So sometimes what happens due to some typo or some errors, like we have to capture the data from schema GG training 1. However, we just mentioned GG training or we misspell it. So what happens, even though we do the transaction in source database, extract is not capturing because it is expecting the data to be captured from those schema which is mentioned in those tables, but those does not exist because of typo. GoldenGate will not throw any error for any typo for database objects. Okay, so it will think that the transaction for the table mentioned hasn't come. However, we have to see that that table does not exist at all, right? That schema does not exist. So if you correct that typo first, this is the one of the common mistake which we make. Another thing is your source transaction should be committed. If the transactions are not committed, then also capture process cannot capture and write it to local trail. So you can check the statistics and confirm whether the extract process is reading the data from correct location and extract process is writing data to local trail. If extract process is writing the data from to local trail, you have to ensure that pump process is also reading the data from correct location and writing to correct location, and then it is reading the data of correct tables whatever is mentioned. Okay, once you have done that, then go to target and do the troubleshooting at replicate site. So if you find any issue at any of the step, try to troubleshoot the issue. Say for example, if you try to find the issue at capture, try to troubleshoot the issue at capture. If all is well, go to path and try to troubleshoot the issue at path level. If path is also fine, then go to replicate side and try to troubleshoot issues at replicate. Okay, any question or issues on this? So you can always view the report file. You can always view the report file. So report file exists inside your details. You can check the report file. You can check the parameter files for checking if there is any typo anywhere. You can always do that. Okay, so similarly on target, if I have to see, this is my target. So my target RINT is now running successfully. So there was some minor hiccup which was faced. Report file never showed anything. So it was just, we need not to worry. These things happen. When you work, you will get to know. Means there are, like, I would always uh, classify errors into two parts. One is critical, one is non-critical. So right now we face non-critical issue. Okay. So any question on these troubleshooting which we discussed today?
Yes, Ashley, I have something to say about this.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some situations where extra pump process are actually running and capturing data and applying to the remote trail, and suddenly replicate will stop applying those data. So as you said, initially you have to check from the bottom, from the extract pump process, and then you go now and narrow your research on replicate side. So I had a situation where a report file was not showing me anything as an error. So I had to realize in the alert log that one of the table space in which replica was supposed to apply data on the table, that table space was actually full.
Yeah.
So from there now, I had to expand the table space, and the replica was able to apply the data.
Wonderful, wonderful point, and thank you for taking this off, Pigai. Okay, so another thing what you have to do is, okay, this is really very good point made by Pigai, and I want everyone to take note of it. So all GoldenGate issues which comes up in GoldenGate environment may not be related to GoldenGate issues only. They may be related to database as well. So this is what the point highlights which she made. So always also check. So you can always find the issue in your AWR report as well. Also, you can find the issues, check for alert log of database, check for ggserr.log in GoldenGate. So we'll see in our next session, ggserr.log. So you have alert log at database, then you have GoldenGate alert log as well. So you can check GoldenGate alert log as well. And also you can also run the integrated replicate health check script available on Oracle support as well to check the regular health check of your replicate processes. So there are multiple steps involved in troubleshooting. So some issues may be related to your GoldenGate, some issues related maybe due to database level, and you can always troubleshoot. So your troubleshooting will again be dependent on scenario wise as well. I do agree, but before it goes into scenario wise, you have to ensure that everything at GoldenGate level, like these are the small things, and 60 to 70% times you will face these kind of issues. Remaining 30% will be related to your database related. So most of the issues are related to the configuration, and then they move to database, and then they move to performance issue. However, if you do your troubleshooting stepwise, if you follow all the troubleshooting steps, you will you will be you will have your troubleshooting will go into right direction, and first thing, your environment will be clean and clear, and your replication will happen without any issues.
Ashish, if we face any issues related to corruption of the trail files, then in that scenarios, how to troubleshoot and get
So
forward?
if there is any corruption in trail file, there is no option. You have to regenerate those trail files again. So if it's a local trail which is corrupted, so what you have to do, you have to move back in time. You have to rerun your extract process, and move back in time from the time where you encounter that your trail file is corrupted. Move back in time, regenerate the trail file so that your your distribution path, read them again and regenerate the remote trail. If your remote trail is corrupted, go back in time or in your data pump, try to read from local trail, earlier local trail, and regenerate them again. So if your trail files are corrupted, if you have locks available, you can move back your GoldenGate processes. If there is no option available, then you have to perform the initial load.
Log means archive logs, right?
Yeah, so see, if you have to move back your extract, so if your trail file was corrupted 10 days ago, you got to know now about that issue. So
Yeah.
if you have to move back your extract process, the lock should be available, right? Okay, so here the replicate process just started. So I think there is one question without any changes how the replicate process started. So here I started it. I did perform the start option here. So that's why it started. Nothing happens automatically, Janardhan. Okay. Okay, so in the next session, we'll be discussing about parameters and parameter files. Like parameters are heartbeat of Oracle GoldenGate. So in the next session, we'll be discussing about parameters and parameter files. And also we'll discuss more about these directory structure. So we haven't seen yet about the directory structure in microservices, and we'll try to compare it with classic as well. Okay. So thank you.